Monkey D. Luffy. And I'm gonna be king of the pirates.
You heard it here, folks. The One Piece is real. The Netflix show is real and is 100% endorsed by Oda. While live-action anime has had a shaky track record, especially on Netflix, all signs point to this being decent. We hope. This has got me thinking of how I got into One Piece through the earlier TV run and through some of the first video games we got over here at the time. How's it going, y'all? I'm Christopher, and in this episode, in honor of One Piece getting a live-action adaptation, we're going to be looking at the first One Piece games that came over here in the US. So you're probably thinking, why only do those games and not every One Piece game ever made? For that, I have two answers. One, I don't have that kind of fucking time. And to showcase this unique era of One Piece games in the States. I'm going to try and go in order of release date here, so let's take a look at One Piece on the GBA. One Piece on GBA is a surprisingly decent side-scroller. Basically, you control Luffy and go level to level punching dudes and platforming to reach the end of the stage. Luffy's moveset is a little light though, as he only has a few of his signature moves to use here. You have a basic punch combo ending with Gum Gum Gatling, you got Gum Gum Bell, Gum Gum Pistol, Gum Gum Rocket whenever you swing from a pole, and Gum Gum Bazooka as a super move. Gum Gum Balloon is here too, but only when you get shot out of a cannon, so it's totally situational. There are 6 stages with 3 levels like Axe in a classic Sonic stage, with a boss level at the end of the 3rd zone. The game loosely covers the East Blue Saga. I only recorded up to Buggy, but everyone you would expect to be here as a boss is here. All in all, it's a solid game. But it's not without its downsides, like no other playable Straw Hats besides Luffy. Yeah, the crew is here, but they only exist as strikers at the cost of your special meter. Another complaint is with the levels themselves, so they start off simple enough, they end up way too long and maze-like when you hit Orange Town. Lastly, controlling Luffy himself isn't as smooth as you would hope. He's kinda slow at, well, everything. His attacks don't seem to come out as fast as you would hope. He's fine as long as you aren't getting ganged up on, but as soon as 3 or more enemies show up, you're taking some hits. His jump arc is a little awkward at times, and he has no other mobility options besides the rocket, meaning no dashing, no ducking, or double jumps. Neat. One Piece GBA is an okay time. I don't think it's quite as good as Dragon Ball Advance Adventure, but for a game that was made exclusively for the US, it's a solid effort. That's it for the GBA. Next we have the first of many console releases with One Piece Grand Battle for the GameCube and PS2. Yo! Show of hands here. How many of you first saw One Piece through the 4Kids dub? Yeah, it's a butchered ass mess that's memeable at best and cringe at worst. Zolo aside, Grand Battle is a blast. Basically, take Power Stone and slap some One Piece brand paint on it and call it a day. It's 1v1 brawls in the 3D arenas with hazards, interactables, and items. You have 3 attack buttons, a block, a double jump, and a button for special attacks. There's also a super meter that you can charge by eating food in the arena. Filling it up twice gives you 2 stocks of super that you can use for super moves, assists, or secret moves when you're at low health. It sounds complicated, but play it for about 5 minutes and you'll get the hang of it. That's the technical side of things, but what about characters, modes, and stages? Things are pretty good character-wise. We have all the Straw Hats post-Alabasta. Luffy, Zoro/Solo, Nami, Usopp, Sanji, Chopper, and Robin under her Baroque Works persona. We'll get to that. Most of the major villains, Buggy, Kuro, Krieg, Arlong, Bentham, and Crocodile, and everyone else, Shanks, Mihawk, Smoker, Chaser. Jesus Christ. Each character comes with at least 1 to 3 assists. Usually their characters are related to them except for Mihawk, who has his energy wave to keep him company.
Here I come!
On the stage sides of things, you have Fuchsia Village, Arlong Park, Baratier, Logue Town, Drum Castle, Alabasta, and what we now know as Mary Joie. As for modes, there's your standard story and training mode, a tournament mode, an art gallery, and some mini-games that you can play either individually or through randomly selected one via Usopp's Pirate Challenge. A couple of those games look familiar, don't they? Okay, half of those games come from the Davy Back fight, but why isn't the mode called that? And to that I'd say, it is, if you live in Japan. So just like our Final Fantasy II was really Final Fantasy IV, our Grand Battle was actually Grand Battle Rush, the fourth game in the series. There are 3 whole other games that we didn't get, 2 of which are on the PS1. Anyway, not only has the correct character names and locations, but extra content. Enel, Foxy, and Kuzan were cut from the game, as well as any stages or techniques from anything up to the start of Water 7. At the time, the 4Kids episodes just made it to Drum Island, and they didn't want to spoil any shit past that point, so they just edited around any references past Drum Island. It's dumb, but I understand their reasoning. Except Crocodile and an entire fucking Alabasta stage are in there completely unedited. They were to rectify most of this in the next released One Piece Grand Adventure a year later. The game is roughly the same as the last one with some minor graphical touches and gameplay tweaks. The main difference this time is the roster and the new adventure mode. Everybody from the last game returns alongside Vivi, Tashigi, Zeph, Wapol, Ace, Ohm, Enel, and Kuina. Still no Foxy or Kuzan though. Most of everybody you would expect is here alongside some interesting picks. It's not a bad roster. As for game modes, the main attraction this time is the Adventure mode. Adventure mode is pretty cool. You choose one of 5 main characters and play through the highlights of their story. You choose an island to go to and you do a mission, which is usually fighting someone with some extra stipulation or rule involved. Anytime you win a fight, you gain experience points that you can use to level up your stats. As a bonus, you can use any upgraded characters you had in Adventure mode in Versus mode and you can pit them against each other. Grand Adventure is like the Clash of Ninja Revolution games. They were a mashup of games and content from releases that we didn't get, and they were made exclusively for the US market. The localization may not be faithful, but this is probably as close as we'll ever get to having something comparable to Grand Battle Rush in the States, and that's alright with me. And that's it for Grand Adventure. I have one last game that I want to discuss for the video today, and it's probably the weirdest one. It's One Piece Pirates Carnival. Most anime games come in 2 genres, fighting games and RPGs, especially if it's a battle shonen. Yeah, you might get a random platformer thrown in there, but for the most part, you're beating the piss out of each other. Pirates Carnival is a rare exception to all of that. It's a board game with mini-games. The main objective is to have the most money at the end of the game. You can do this by winning mini-games and collecting crew members. Crew members can be found by landing on normal panels and playing a mini-game to win them over to your crew. Unless there is a draw, which will leave the panel unclaimed. There's a wide selection of characters here to choose from. This time going all the way to the end of Water 7. Skypiea. Damn it. Among the normal panels are the special Captain panels. These require you to win a special 1v3 minigame between the person who landed on the panel, now playing as that captain, and the 3 other people. Just like any other minigame, last man standing wins the panel, and the character. Normal and captain panels will net you crew members and money, but what about event panels? They fuck you over. Yep, you can't have a party game without having shit happens being a game mechanic. Most of the time it involves you losing money, gaining money, or having your crew being fucked with. You can gain or lose key crew members in an instant when this shit happens. Even something as simple as getting your crew members shuffled around can cause you harm, because all it takes is 2 of another character's crew to be sandwiched in between you and have them jack your panel. Then there's the Davy Back fight, which is Carnival's equivalent of fucking chance time. Basically, somebody's captain is up for grabs, and whoever wins the minigame wins the captain. Then there's the halftime chance game that pits the 1st and 3rd place person against the 2nd and 4th place person in, you guessed it, a minigame for cash. Mechanically, there's a lot to chew on as far as the board goes, but what about the minigames? This may be the weakest part of the whole game? I'm not entirely sure. Full disclosure here, I never played Pirates Carnival prior to this video, so I went in totally blind. The board was simple enough, but the minigames, bruh, those minigames were some jank. That's like the explanation and the control breakdown was there, but you don't actually learn how the games work until you play the game. And then you don't have the luxury of doing a practice run like in Mario Party. You gotta do that shit raw in the streets if you want to run with the Straw Hat crew. Things don't have a control on the games quite like you think they would, and the ones that do aren't polished enough to do what you need to do. Now, to be fair, I wasn't playing this on original hardware, and there was some slowdown at times that may have contributed to my performance, but at the same time, the CPU was struggling too. There were several instances of the CPU playing sloppy as fuck, and I had them on normal. Not that it mattered, I still got my ass kicked. This race was the worst of it, and it's where I called it quits. One thing I'll give them props for is the character interactions. 4 kids aside, this was really cool.
We mermen are the supreme species. Weak little human will never be our equal.
You keep saying the same thing. You're trying to bore people to death, so you're half fish. Fish stink.
Humans stink. We're way more advanced than you. We rule on land and underwater.
Don't put me to sleep. Just win this battle. We're the super pirate crew.
I can't stand most humans, but you know what it takes to win. You human never learn. Mermen rule on land and water. Nothing fishy about it.
Just in the brief time I played, I saw a few unique interactions between different characters. There was care and thought put into this aspect of the game. If any party games want to take anything from Pirates Carnival, it's this. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Yeah, that was Pirates Carnival. Even though I ragged on it a bit towards the end, I think it's a pretty unique party game, all things considered. And with that, we have covered the last One Piece game in this video, and also the last video game that's got the 4Kids version of One Piece in it. One Piece Unlimited Adventure was the next game released in the States with the more faithful Funimation version. One Piece eventually got to the point where most games made it over here on most consoles. Gone were the days when One Piece was denied to the Western gaming world. For better or for worse. Nintendo, hire this man!